So how should Bitcoin investors be thinking about the S&P now or the SpaceX IPO now? Obviously, if the S&P dips 10%, 20%, crypto's going lower, correct?
That's the way I see it, definitely.
So let's look at price targets for Bitcoin, if you would. What do you
Price targets for Bitcoin? Sure, let's do it. Um, do you mean like, shall we just look at lows,
I
highs?
want to know what you're telling your audience. What's next? It's like, what are the
All right.
charts telling you?
Okay. Well, we've had the bear market rally. So right around here is when we did our video, around 66, 67. Price is now 63, rallied to 82, came all the way back, took out the February low. And the range that I'm watching now for Bitcoin conservatively is around 43,000 to 58,000 as a bottom target. So when I said I don't think it's going to be the drops are going to be as severe as what we've seen in the bull market already. These are the drops, 20 odd thousand each time. We're currently at a lower price of 59. If we drop in this conservative zone, then it's not going to be as severe, like just straightforward. If we take it all the way to the lowest range, I'm looking between 32 and 43. This is this white zone at the bottom here, these two white fibs. Reason for that is that previous cycles, we've always come back to that zone. So 2022's bear market, you can see here, it dropped into that zone. There's the moving averages, which we'll cover as well, but that's dropped into this zone here, 0.125 to 0.25. There are the lows, sits around there for a while, and then took off. The 2017 bull market range, which dropped into the 2018 low, again, back in the zone between 0.125 and 0.25. And then the prior cycle back in 2014. So this was the bear market of 2014, very much in the zone of 0.125 to 0.25. Because we're not getting the same sort of bull markets with the same sort of percentages to the upside, the whole diminishing returns theory, then I think it's probably feasible that we may not go anywhere near the 30K, but more likely halfway through, maybe in the mid 30s. That's why I've got a conservative target also around 43 to 58, because there was a fair bit of resistance and support through the last, say, 4 or 5 years in that zone. So two scenarios. Worst case between the 30 and the 43. Conservatively, somewhere between 43 and 58.
Jason, can I be honest with you, man?
Yes, sir.
That's bullish to me. Only because if that's like if you accept that we're in a bear market and you've rode it all the way here, it's like we're in the bottoming process, and 35 would be a great buying opportunity if we're just in between 35 and 55 or 70 or whatever for the next 6 months. We're at the beginning of the end.
Yes. Yeah. I think it is a beginning of the end, especially when you look at it from a time-based perspective. We're into the eighth month of the bear market. And I know by now most people have heard of the bear markets running about 12 months. Last, 2022 was 12 months, 2018 was 12 months, 2014 was about 14 months. So we're in the eighth month, maybe two-thirds of the way through. And I know a lot of people are looking at that October date, which is why I'm keeping quarter 3 open as a possibility, just a little shorter than what people are used to. And obviously, we have to assess once we get there. I'm definitely not calling for a, Bitcoin must hit 30 grand before the cycle's over. We heard all about that sort of thing last cycle. I remember, you recall that there was all the guys talking about Bitcoin had to go to 12 grand, and then they got greedy and said 9 grand, and then they said 3 grand. And I think it's just a matter of just watching how the market reacts. If you don't catch the bottom, it's no big deal. You can get it on the rally. At the time, you sound like an idiot. Oh, you missed out on, look at that, 40% gains in January. But you look back on the cycle and it's really not that bad if you wait for confirmation, which is your insurance plan to know that you're most likely getting the low. Otherwise, you're just playing the catching the falling knife game. You keep getting cut up on the way down.
I guess sometimes when I watch your content, I'm a subscriber, link down below.